Hey all, here at OS Reviews. Today we're taking a closer look at Anker's Soundcore Life Q35. These are active noise cancelling headphones which are high-res certified. They support the LDAC codec, which was developed by Sony for nearly CD-like quality transmission using Bluetooth, allowing you to squeeze as much resolution and detail as possible out of wireless headphones. And they also have hybrid ANC, so they're active noise cancelling, and just like some of Anker's other wireless products, such as the popular Liberty Air 2 Pro TWS buds that we checked out a while back, these support their companion app, which allows you to connect and even control the intensity of the noise cancellation, flagship-grade headphones, and they're trying to compete with more expensive brands like Sony or Bose in this regard, and it sells for under $200. Now it comes in two colors. There is this obsidian blue, also comes in a frost pearl color, which is closer to pink, and other specs on here include over 60 hours of music time if you're using them to listen to music, 40 hours if you have active noise cancellation turned on, and they also have dual microphones for noise reduction when you're making calls, as well as a wearing detection sensor. So when you remove the headphones, they will automatically pause the music. When you pop them back on, the music will resume. Also has fast charging, so 5 minutes of top-up will get you over 4 hours of listening time, so pretty impressive there. So again, Soundcore app allows you to change the ANC for outdoor, indoor versus transport modes, and there is also NFC, by the way, which allows you to tap to pair, so very quick to connect to devices. Presentation is done very well. Even though these days the rage is all about compact, smaller wireless buds, there are still reasons why you may want to consider larger headphones like this. For one, comfort, if you want to wear this continuously for longer durations of time while you are commuting or if you're doing things like video editing, in addition to having larger drivers, which can pack more dynamic, bigger sound if you are willing to carry something a little bit larger. And we've got a hard carrying case, which is made of this microfiber texture, which is super soft, and inside here we have, of course, just the Q35s. I will point out that this is not the first time that Anker, a company that might be more well known to some of you guys for making power banks, has also made other headphones under this Life series. For example, this time last year, they released the Q30, which is pretty popular, available on Amazon, Best Buy, and many retail stores, actually on sale these days for under $100, also was active noise cancelling. But this is more of an iterative upgrade that now supports high-res audio codecs like the aforementioned LDAC standard. The design, though, is still very similar to the Q30 from a exterior perspective, and also fits in line with their other products like the aforementioned Soundcore Liberty Air 2 Pro wireless buds. You can really tell are part of the same family. Aside from the headphones, we also get a small pouch that carries a optional auxiliary cable if you want to transform these into wired 3.5mm headphones. And finally, there is also a USB Type-C charging cable. Now, if we take a closer look at the design of the Q35s, again, they have a soft touch rubber material coating over the plastic, so it's very grippy and comfortable to hold. Doesn't really attract too much fingerprints. Tells you this is the area that contains the NFC pad, so you can tap to pair with your phone, although these don't have any touch controls to them. So for relying on navigation, there are physical buttons located on the rear here, for instance, for volume, up and down, as well as the play pause key. And on the other end, there is the Type-C port along with a power key and also the noise cancellation button that you can also tap on a few times to go between the different modes, like transparency mode, and there's even more microphones. The padding here is done pretty generously. It's made of this protein leather, so it is very soft and well cushioned. It's extremely soft. The band is constructed out of a aluminum alloy. It does attract a little bit of fingerprints, and we have some additional branding info on the sides, active noise cancelling. You can pull on these, by the way, to change the size of the bands if you want to make these a little bit larger or smaller, depending on the fit. Overall, a solid construction and feels well put together. So here we've got the Soundcore application, and under headphones, all you need to do is click on the Life series and then tap on Q35, at which point we can see the battery percentage remaining and also go through the different ANC modes. You can choose between a transport mode, so if you're on a bus or crowded subway, versus if you're indoors, mostly fan noises, or in a cafe, and versus outdoors if you're on a city street. Now you can also jump into the equalizer modes, and from here you can use the default Soundcore signature signature EQ that's been tuned by their sound engineers, or go through some of the other ones depending on the genre of music you're listening to. For example, acoustic, bass boosted, bass reduced, classical, podcast, dance, electronic, so on and so forth are all examples that you can try out, boosting different elements. And there's also a custom mode where you can pull on different frequencies and segments to more precisely tune the sound to your liking. Overall, again, it's fun to use, and I do like the options that they provide. But one thing I will point out here is the Life Q35s don't have the Hear ID function that the TWS buds had. So on those, if you recall, they did a hearing test that can detect what parts of the sound you aren't able to hear as much, and then tune a EQ specialized for your hearing. And it actually worked pretty well. It was a unique function that is no longer present on their larger headphones. Last but not least, you can also play some nature sounds to fall asleep at night, although it might be a little strange to wear these headphones since they're a little larger when you're sleeping, unless you're on a plane, for instance. And you can also try and see if there's any firmware updates under this bar here. It can detect that and automatically push it over. Now, talking about the performance, let's start with the audio quality. I was pretty impressed with the Q35s overall. Like other LDAC certified headphones I've tried out in the past, those were from Sony and one more that we've reviewed. It does offer incredible detail if you're playing back tracks, which are FLAC, lossless audio file formats, things like that. If you're simply streaming or watching a YouTube video, the difference is not going to be night and day, but it definitely pushes more details over if you listen super closely and you are trying to pull things apart a bit. More of an audio file you can detect. The drivers on these in particular are excellent in terms of giving you plenty of bass as expected for such a large size. So whenever you hear a drum beat, it really just kicks you with a huge impact, and it really feels like you're listening to something that's live, a very open sound compared to smaller buds, which are much more closed off in general. The signature EQ, though, is still well balanced in that it doesn't overpower the mids or trebles in my testing, and I was still able to really enjoy instrumentals and vocals in most pop music and EDM type tracks I tried listening to. Speaking of, the ANC here is effective, although I would still say that arguably Bose's Quiet Comfort headphones are still the industry leader when it comes to absolute noise cancellation performance. These are good. I would say that they get around 80 to 90% effective in my testing, so if I was in a car, certainly all the engine sounds got repressed. I was able to listen to music a lot more comfortably. However, if you are indoors and if you're listening to people's voices around you, it gets slightly muffled but not completely canceled out, which is kind of expected since noise cancellation tech mainly focuses on the really low frequency sounds, so it's always going to struggle a bit more with humans' voices, though Bose's Quiet Comfort headphones do tend to do a little bit better in this regard. Still, I think that for most folks, if you're just trying to enjoy music in peace and rest, you'll be definitely satisfied with the performance of the ANC. So that's more or less it as far as our hands-on review of the Anker Soundcore Life Q35. Ultimately, I would say sound quality being extremely solid, very well balanced, and full of detail is what is going to be the main selling point on these. So you can check out more details if you're interested in the links down below. Overall, again, very well constructed and solid performance. This has been the Anker Soundcore Life Q35 HiFi headphones.